Micah McFadden. And talk about a guy that wasn't even, let's be honest, because wasn't even the first linebacker drafted that year. That was Darian Beavers at that point that was drafted first when, a couple years ago. One of the very few Joe Schoen picks that really have worked out very well prior to this year's draft class. 14 games, 14 starts. And I'm not sure what happened to my notes here on his tackling numbers here overall, but something happened. Apparently he has 1-7.
Ooh.
So 107, I just looked it up real quick. 107 tackles, 3 sacks, 6 QB hits, 8 tackles for loss, a pass deflected, a forced fumble, and a fumble recovery. Got a 62.8 PFF grade, 79.6 pass rush grade, 66.0 run defense, and a 53.5 coverage grade. And he is exactly what he was last year, guys. Let's be very frank on this. He is a guy that you put into the first 2 downs. And you look at it, and this is a guy that you can go ahead and put in run plays. You can go ahead and put him in, like I said, short yardage situations. But if you're asking him to cover a tight end of any passing ability whatsoever, a running back of any catching ability whatsoever, you're going to be in trouble. And that's why last year, remember, they were doing Isaiah Simmons and him and crossing that back and forth at that point, because Isaiah Simmons could be that third down linebacker, which just sounds weird to say, a third down linebacker. But, all the injuries and all this year, McFadden got a little more exposed to those issues. But he's a good player overall. It's just a matter of, do we think he's a good enough player for what he's going to be cap-wise now as he's getting towards the end of, his rookie deal at that point. This year coming up, he's got a $3.4 million cap hit. And only $89,000 is guaranteed. So
wait, 89,000, like 809,000.
No, 89 as in 89,000.
Yeah.
So
just want to make sure the decibels right there. Damn.
Yeah.
That's like
he's a guy that we literally could save $3.25 million by cutting. So I think if McFadden comes back next year, which I'm not against in any way, shape, or form, I'm not against it. If he comes back, though, he's a guy that you're going to probably have to sign to an extension to get that number down a little bit there, because it's so tempting to get $3.25 million back. Because Micah McFadden is good on the team, don't get me wrong, but don't tell me you couldn't go get a guy for $2 million and save another $1 million. And we know that Joe Schoen would make a move to save $1 million. Look, he cut Nick McLeod and threatened his rent payments over a couple $100,000.
It's nuts.
So, we'll have to see what happens to McFadden. I don't think it's a guarantee to be back next year necessarily because of that cap issue there at that point. We have plenty of cap space right now, but we'll see what happens as we start signing more players, especially because if we do sign a quarterback, that's going to take a good chunk of our cash availability there. So we might look to make some moves. But McFadden is a guy that, again, as long as we can keep a reasonable cap, which I'm sorry, $3.4 million for the record is a reasonable cap.
Yeah,
but we can get that down a little bit. It makes it a guy that you're definitely say, okay, we're going to keep McFadden. We're going to keep him going, because you got a guy we're talking about a minute ago, Darius Muasau, that could probably go ahead and take the spot from McFadden. And he's not as good as McFadden, but he's not necessarily a huge drop-off.
Yeah, which is a lot less.
Yeah, for, $3 million less. Because he's on his second year of his rookie deal. So he's a lot less money. So
if you like that clip, then you will love the full episodes too. Find us on your favorite podcast app and look for us on all your favorite social media platforms.
Thanks so much.
Please, I'm begging you. Please.